because I don't want to move.
All right. Hello, everyone. We are officially live. I am Marshall Harris, and we are doing a series this week called Women Making History. And I am interviewing some wonderful ladies that I think are definitely making history in the community and in health. So today I have Jarkeshia McGahee. I hope I said that right.
McGahee.
McGahee. And she's here today. Now, I met Drakesha in a small group at church, and I just feel like she's just such a wonderful person. She always has a beautiful smile, and I can just see God shining through her. And I just love her spirit. So, she is a mental health professional, and I wanted her to come and give us some tips on mental health and also share her story. And so, I will give her the floor.
Hi, everybody. As she said, I am Jarkesha McGahee. I am a wife. I'm a mother. I am a mental health advocate. I'm also a mental health first aid instructor. And by day, I'm a cytotechnologist. Many people don't know what that is, but I am behind the scenes diagnosing cancer. Most of the time, we work upon the pathologist. So if you ever hear something, and our primary specimen is the pap smear. So if you're ever wondering whatever happens to your pap smear, that's what happens. We're the people that are looking at it behind the scenes. So by day, I'm in the lab behind four walls, and the other time I'm still bubbly, but I'm open and talking and speaking and advocating more for mental health.
Awesome. Well, I'm so glad that you're here and decided to be my guest today. We are streaming live today to Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And so just in case anyone don't know who I am Marshall Harris, and I am a health and wellness coach. I am an advocate. I am also a 4-year cancer survivor thriver, and I help cancer survivors advocate for their own health and wellness so that they can navigate through the healthcare system with confidence. That is my overall goal and mission, that no one does this disease alone. So I am here for support, guidance, resources, and clarity. And today we're going to focus on mental health. All right, so let's get started with our very first question. So, what does mental health mean to you?
So I thought a lot about this question, and I thought about so I never really asked my own self like, what does mental health mean to me? But mental health.
Oh, Drakesha, I lost you. I lost you. I lost you. I lost you. I can't
Keisha,
hear you.
Keisha, she's connected to the car.
Oh, she said it's connected to the car, so you got to
Sorry
turn
about
the
that.
off.
Okay, you turned it off. I'm sorry, y'all. This is
My car
this is what
mine
happens when
doesn't
we're really.
hear you.
I was like, we're live. Things happen when you go live. So,
Right.
but I was telling you, I had to think about what does mental health, mean to me. I have never really just sat there and had that. I know about going through the struggles with mental health, but mental health is the pathway to your heart. That's what I said. Mental health is the pathway of your heart because with the mental health, it encompasses your emotions. It encompasses everything that your thoughts, your past, your present, as well as your future. It encompasses your depression and the anxiety you may have, and just things that you have been through. So that's how I look at mental health. Yes, it's your overall health of your mind, but it also shows the healthiness in your heart as well. So depending on things you may have been through with trauma in your life or anything like that, that could also show when it comes to what mental health means to me. I know to most people it's like, well, it's all about your mind, but to me it's like, no, it's the pathway to your heart.
Wow, I love that. I never really thought about that, but that is a great point. Your mind and your heart are connected, and we definitely want to protect our heart and our mind. So, great point. And the next question is, do you think that there is enough programs in the community to make a positive impact in mental health?
There are programs that are there, but I think what it is that a lot of people just don't know about them because people don't come to their area to discuss them as much, or even in schools, they don't talk about mental health as much. It's becoming more that people are talking about it, but it used to be a time where it wasn't as talked about, especially in the faith-based community. Now more people are stepping up now and talking about it because they're understanding more about, things happening with pastors and as well with their members, but there was a time there wasn't so many, and I think it more so becomes because people just don't know. They don't, what you can't find things if you don't know they exist, or you don't see they exist, or you don't connect with someone who does know about
Okay. And where do you think is a good place to go to get these resources in the community?
Good places you could go is, if you're, one place I'll tell people about at your job that a lot of people don't even know about or haven't really checked into. If you have an employee assistance program, they tell you about a lot of mental health programs that are available to you. A lot of people offer free sessions. But one thing, you can go to community centers. You can look up, even go to what they call NAMI. You can look up American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. You can be able to just go to even like a counseling center just to find out information about other places. And most time, yes, you can even look in it on Google, but you can narrow things down to where things are located in your area.
Okay. Thank you. That is a great resource. Hi, Kathy, Dream Girl Kathy. She's going to be on tomorrow. I see she's here. Welcome. Okay. So, do you feel that challenges exist with stigma currently in the community? Is there a lot of stigma associated with mental health still?
Yes, there's still, even though, yes, we are talking more about mental health, a lot of times things don't come up until it say, hey, it's a celebrity something happens to. So yes, I still think there's stigma. A lot of people don't want to open up and talk about it. People are afraid because they don't know what to say, what to ask, or how to help. Because there are people who want to help, but they just don't know. And especially even like in the faith-based community, there, people are mindful of like certain words they use. Like they'll be like, don't talk about like, don't bring up suicide and depression and certain things. And they will like, well, where's your faith with that if you do bring it up? And it's like, no, we all have things. You can have Jesus in therapy. There's nothing wrong with that. So yes, there is a stigma still out there, and some people just label you as crazy, or depending on what era you grew up in, where they was like, your business is your business. Don't be telling like everybody all your business. And that's something we have to break. And I see that more now. People are stepping up and talking about their mental health openly, and they're not being so quiet about it.
Awesome. So, can you recommend something that families can do to kind of get this conversation started in their home?
One of the things I say you can do is just, don't, one, you're going to be afraid anyways to open up and say, hey, I'm going through X, Y, and Z. But it's like, no, don't be that, because somebody has to be the one. Somebody has to step up and say, hey, I'm going through this, because you don't want something to happen. And then that's when everybody's like, oh my goodness, I didn't know such and such was going through that. It's one of those things. Start asking questions to people of older age in your family, and be able to ask, like, did I have somebody in my family who experienced this? Because a lot of times things don't happen, or people don't ask about it until they're experiencing it. So being able to open up and say, hey, I'm not feeling this way, or I'm not feeling that way, or I'm feeling this way, or I'm feeling that way. So being able to just open that door and leave that open communication. But one thing I would prepare anybody from, if you do this, to be prepared for how that person may respond. They may not respond in the way that you desire, but even then, you might not want to hear what somebody's about to share, but be that open door for them to come to and say, hey, this is what I'm going through. This is what's happening with me. And then just be okay with how they come. Yes, it may freak you out. I'll just be honest. But at the same time, you would rather know than not know, and then it'd be too late.
Right. Exactly. I agree with that. Thank you for shedding some light on that, because sometimes people don't know what to do, so they do nothing. So it's important
Hmm.
just to get the conversation started and ask the question. So thank you for bringing that out. Also, the next question is what has challenged you in your life in your mental health? Have you had any challenges with your mental health?
Oh yes, I still, even, and this is me. I'll tell anybody, y'all. I'm an open book, so I still even to now deal with depression and occasionally anxiety. Anxiety came more to me when I had my daughter. It was there before, but it came more once I had my daughter. It really came out to even being more panic attacks and things, and even just having conversations with certain people used to bring on a full on panic attack for me. Depression still creeps up, and that's one of the tactics that the enemy likes to use against me, to keep me to be quiet. And that goes even more with my story. People been trying to shut me up since I started talking. People been trying to shut me up mostly all my life. So I understand now, and more of my calling and what God is calling me to do, that I am meant to speak. I'm not to be silent. I'm not to be quiet. So sometimes just life happens. My husband had a stroke. back in June of 2020. He's doing very well. God spared his life very much so. I mean, I'm losing loved ones, just dealing with life in itself, being trying to make that work life balance, feeling where you're feeling inadequate, things you've gone through in your trauma. Like I've gone through things in my past that still come and haunt me to this day. So it's one of those things just being those things still come to me. And sometimes depression just comes with the seasons and different things that are going around.
Okay. Well, has there been a time that something happened in your family that you was told to keep quiet about?
Yes, one of the things that happened, and as I tell you all, I am a PK. And then we talk about, I told you about mental health in the faith community. It's something that's not really talked about as much. Well, December 11th of 2020, I lost my father, who was a pastor, who was a presiding elder at that, was very well known to death by suicide. And I was asked to be quiet about it. They asked the kids to be quiet about it. They didn't ask what we thought about it, what our opinion was of anything. It was just like nobody's gonna know. That was the hardest thing ever because I was quiet and I would tell only people that God said I could tell. I didn't tell my coworkers until almost a year later after it happened. So when I returned back to work and everybody wanted to tell me how they lost their father, I wanted to scream at them and be like, but that's not how I lost my father. And that happened 2 weeks prior to Christmas. Christmas was my dad's season. He loved Christmas. We would go do caroling and all these things. And even during that week, that same day that I found out that my dad passed, I was sick to my stomach all day at work, and I didn't know why. And I even had just told my husband, I was like, well, what if something happens to them? How are they going to find out? Because my stepmom's health had greatly declined and he was taking care of her. And I said, well, who's going to find her? He said, oh, I'm quite sure one of the church members or somebody would find them if something happened. I'm speaking all the things that were happening. So I had to be quiet about that. I started speaking up more about that recently, and I'm sharing it here now. This is part of my testimony, part of me and my mental health journey, part of the things I still deal with that. Holidays are hard. So people, when they tell you, like, check on those people around, because whenever that season comes, I get in a mode. The first couple of years, it was rough. This past year, it was just like, I don't want to do anything related to Christmas, really. So it's one of those things that we have to speak up about it. We have to stop being hush hush about it. Most people know about it now. Yes, I started talking about it. I spoke about it on Father's Day. Every Father's Day, I do a prayer, and I told them why Father's Day looks different for me. So, even though my daddy, I'm not a daddy's girl, I'm a God girl. I'm not a daddy's girl. But it was one of those things that I was able to reconcile my relationship with my father many years prior to this. And then most people look for me to be the one to freak out when they told me about my father's passing and how he passed. But I didn't, because they didn't know I had been there myself. So that's why we have to talk about the things that we're going through, so that other people can understand and know what they can do and how to help. We can't be silent about these things. We have to speak more about it. Can't wait till it's somebody prominent to talk about death by suicide. We can't do that. And also having the right language. A lot of people don't know the correct language to speak about someone dying by suicide.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know that it's probably not easy to do, but I do believe that it's going to help someone. When we share our stories, our testimony, we overcome by the words of our testimony. So I definitely appreciate you for doing that. And I do wonder um, if there were any signs that he was thinking about this. Was this his
Well,
first time, you know, attempting and succeeding? Like, can you tell us a little bit about that?
see, that's one of the things. There's still a lot of things that are unknown, and it kind of goes back to the generation that I said people grew up in, where a man wasn't supposed to cry, and you don't share your feelings. I've heard different things since his passing. There's even been a whole big document written by the bishop about certain parts of things that happened, like this scandal was going on. So there wasn't a note left or anything like that. The only thing is, some people say he did reach out and said he needed help, but people didn't take him seriously. And one thing I do know now, I've learned things that even when I went to go visit my father's burial site where he's buried, that the person that had to show me where he was, because I couldn't remember, he told me that when he went to visit my dad back in September, my dad was getting his affairs in order. And because of some of the training that I have gotten now, I understand that death by suicide is not just something that also instantaneously just happens. It's actually been planned out. So he could have been planning this out back in September, and we just didn't know.
Okay. Yes. How does that make you feel? Like, do you feel, how does that make you feel? Just to
I'm
know
not
that.
gonna lie, my first reaction, I was angry. I was mad. I was not sad. I was mad because I had been trying to contact my father and did not answer my phone calls. He didn't respond back to my text messages, and I always, for at one point, felt guilty and felt like, well, if he had to talk to me, maybe he wouldn't have done it. And it was one of those things. My husband asked me, well, would you have wanted to been the last person that he talked to? And I said no, because I don't think I would have been able to deal with that as well. And so it's one of those that I wish I could have been around to see more. And I think that, that's probably the reason he avoided me, because I probably could have been that voice. Not even knowing that I'm an encourager. Everybody's used to me being the happy go lucky one. Yes, I'm the sensitive one. But at the same time, now I understand that even though I lost my father that way, this is how God is using me to reach out to more people in the faith based community and to spread the word more about mental health and get more people to understand.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know it's difficult. I couldn't imagine, but I am glad that you're here. And every time I see you, I can see God all over you. So I'm just like, Keisha just is so sweet and wonderful. And I want to know, so someone else has experienced this, or how can they overcome like such a big challenge? Like, do you have a couple steps that someone could take?
Well, the one thing I could tell you that I started to do even before losing my father was I started seeing a counselor. I found that that was the main thing that was needed. And it's one of those things that people ought to say, like, they don't want to go to therapy, they can't afford it, they can't do it. That's why I advocate for the employee assistance program. First, talk to somebody. If you don't feel like you can afford to go to a counselor or a therapist, even though there are programs that are available, find a trusted friend that you can talk to that's not going to have any judgment towards you, that's just going to be there to listen. And even if you're that listening friend that they're coming to, don't try to fix them. A lot of times people are trying, they want to be we want to fix you, we want to make you feel better, we want to do all these things. It's like, no, just be that listening ear. Be there if they need to cry, be there if they need to share. But one of the biggest things was my faith in God, finding community, finding people that will be there to encourage you and pray for you and letting you know, like, hey, everything is going to be all right. But at the same time, just being able to talk, even if you have to journal it, even if you pray it, but just getting any assistance and help you need, letting you know you are not alone. A lot of times we feel like we're alone. We feel like nobody sees us, nobody hears us, nobody cares. But that's not true at all. That's a lie of the enemy. He doesn't want you to get help. He wants you to feel like you're all alone, destroy you, and that you don't need to be here, that you don't have a purpose, that nobody's going to care, nobody's going to miss you. But I want you to know that you are seen, you are heard, you are loved, and that God has you here still for a purpose, a reason, and a season. And He has something that He needs you to do that only you can do because He only created you to do.
Amen. Amen to that. That's beautiful. So, do you have the support you need, and what does that look like?
I'm gonna be honest. I have the support I need. I guess I have my counselor, and I have what I call my circle people that I had to. Last year was a rough season for me, and I had to send a very transparent message and be like, I'm not doing well. This is not a good time of the year for me. I'm not feeling this way. I was dealing with physical issues, and I let people know I apologize to them for not opening up any sooner. So that prompted people to start checking on me more. And even during that time when it wasn't people in that circle, God was sending people to check on me to see how I was doing, because I was always getting on, even if I didn't feel up to my best, and reminded people to check on your people. I would say check on your family, check on your strong friends. I would do that on Chop, what I call Chop Wednesdays, check on your people Wednesdays. So then I guess people could sense something wasn't right with me. So people start checking on me more regularly now and be like, well, how are you doing? How are you really doing? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, how are
Yeah.
you doing? Why are you only a 5? Why are you only a 1? If I say okay, they'll be like, okay, why are you okay? So now I have more people checking more on me, especially with me opening up and saying, hey, I'm not doing well, or hey, I've had these thoughts about these things, and and not only that, just having my counseling, having regular sessions with her.
Okay. Well, I do love your acronym, CHOPPED. Check on your people. That's really cool. I was going to ask you about that next. So I love that you already mentioned that. So, what are your current personal health goals that you're currently working on?
One is just one is getting organized. Two is closing some of these tabs. A lot of times we have way too many tabs open. So it's trying to get things organized, get it out of my head, get back into journaling. Journaling was something that really helped me even along the way before I started seeing a counselor, getting those things out that are within you because the longer you keep them within you, then that's more they can tear you apart. Sharing more of my journey and my story, eating better because it's like, Lord, how can I do your work if I'm not presenting myself in the way that I need to be able to have the energy and the capacity to do what you're calling me to do? So that's one of the things is in my health goal, my mental health, keep on seeing my counselor and just keep on advocating for others and being there to be that open door for them if they want to share as well.
Okay. How has faith helped you with your mental health?
Um, God has been there, my constant. I tell people all the time I have that one constant, and that's God. God is always my constant. He's never going to change. He's going to always be there. Even times when I don't want to feel like I want to worship or do, I have to push myself to say no because I can get past this. Because the longer that I allow the enemy to keep coming at me, the more I'm not going to be able to walk fully into what God has called me to do. I was a lot more quiet and a lot more silent last year. Didn't say as much. That wasn't as open as much. Wasn't as out in the open. And I'm like, no, I'm no longer silent anymore because God has a purpose and a calling on my life that He needs me to do so that I can be there to help other people to bring them one closer to Him, but also bring healing into their life and have them to open up and share more as well.
Okay. And so I know you have clients. So how does others relate to that, like that you have faith? Are you allowed to bring that in into the conversation with your clients?
Well, right now you're speaking actually something when you asked me that you're speaking something into existence that I haven't been fully walking into and doing. People tell me all the time I need to be coaching or mentoring or teaching, and I haven't been doing that. That's one of the things God told me to do years ago, and I had made a whole program, coaching program called Encouragement Coaching, and I have not been fully walking into that. So that's something that's about to start happening more. But I am bringing in training and more of the classes and being open to go and speak so people can see more of my face, understand more about what I do, and to bring into that. I keep talking about building this community, check on your people community. And so me being here with you and you asking me to do this is God drawing me out to make me say, okay, you're putting it out there for the world, so you got to do it.
Right. So this is a great thing. So hopefully today people will know more about Jarkesha and what she does. And so what are some of the topics that you speak on? Or is everything a workshop? Like how can people work with you for their
Well,
mental health?
I've spoken a couple times, and I have different topics called like the check on your people era, and it's say the chop era actually, but I have to say that because I don't want nobody to think we're chopping anybody. But era stands for is a method that I use to get you to go out because, like I told you, a lot of times people want to help, but they don't know how to help someone without them getting to have to go pay for like real formal training. It'll be giving you the steps on what steps you could take that you probably already do to check on somebody, but I also have another one called The First Encounter Make a Difference. It goes back to like when somebody comes to you and starts disclosing things to you, how you respond determines how they will respond back to if they'll open up to anybody else or even back open to you. So I talk more about that, how to approach that situation, and I tell my story. A lot of people don't know this about me. I have um I have multiple sclerosis. I don't talk about it a whole lot, so I could talk about that story and that journey of how that happened. I could talk about I talk about being a caregiver. Like I told you, my husband had a stroke and what 2020 looked like for me, and being able to say how I'm navigating that. So those are just different topics and things that I have talked about, sharing my story of losing my father and my mental health journey, and being able to tell you ways to step out and help others without going through actual like a formal training.
Okay. So since you are just now starting to reach out and letting people know what services you provide and how you can help, do you have any upcoming events that you're planning?
I have two mental health first aid training. As I said, I'm a mental health first aid instructor. I got to do my first live. I guess I'm saying it was my first experience this past weekend, and most people, even when I got going as a thank you, even when I got certified and had to go through and do teach a part of it, they were like the people your peers had to grade you too. They were like, I don't have nothing bad. They were like, you're a natural, like you do this, like this was easy because y'all I'm passionate about it. I want you to know how if you see somebody in a crisis or if they're not in a crisis, and you want to help, I want you to know how to. Because one, like I said, I go through my own mental health struggles and challenges, as well as losing someone to death by suicide. And I want people to understand the right language to say, understand why we don't say committed suicide. So that's one of the things you learn within there. But I do have a training coming up on April the 20th. It's going to be on Saturdays because I work during the week, 9 to 5, not 9 to 5, but work a 40-hour job. But it's on Saturdays. I have one on April 20th, on May the 18th. I'll make sure you have more information about it. You can sign up for it. Yes, there is a fee for it, but still, I care more about. It's not about the money. Yes, that's part of it, but it's more about me getting as many mental health first aiders certified so that you can step out there and be able to help. So people can't say, I wanted to help, but I didn't know what to do. So now you won't have that excuse because there are many programs out there. You can get a youth mental health first aid course. You can do a teen mental health first aid course, adult mental health aid course. That's what I do. You can do many different courses to learn how to help and to step up and to do, because we need more of it right now in this age more than we've ever needed it before.
Exactly, we sure do, because everyone has mental health, and I'm so glad that we're trying to pull the cover off of the stigma, because we all need to take care of our mental health to be well. It's so very, very important. So, is
Oh,
there
and I
any?
have one more thing I forgot too. I am in the process. When you asked about events, and I was like, "You," but I felt it in my spirit, like you better mention this. But I'm also in the process of planning a in-person mental health first aid conference. My very first one here in person, in Birmingham, Alabama. It'll be in October, and I chose October because one I think about is going right into the holiday season, and I know how I get when it comes close to the holiday season. Some people go through winter blues, so it's going to be giving tips and things for people to know, and it's faith based. I'm telling you, anything I do is gonna be faith based, but it'll also give you the resources that you need to know what is available to you in the area locally.
Okay, wonderful. October is the time. So we're gonna post your website in the comments so people can be following you and looking that up. Are there any tips you want to leave with our guests today to manage their mental health?
The one thing I want to give you a tip is it's okay to not be okay. I have to tell myself that it's and to love yourself. That's something else also I have to say. But also it's okay to tell people when you're struggling. The ones that need to know are going to be there and be receptive of it. The ones that are not, they may have other things to say. But I want anybody to know that you are not alone. You are seen and you are heard. God loves you. I want you to know that you still have a place and a purpose here, and that you just step out and just be bold. Talk to someone if you need to, whatever way you can find resources. Like I said, find a trusted friend to talk to, someone that you know will be that listener that will not judge you, that won't go out there and tell all your business, but just to be able to say, it's okay to say, you know what, y'all, and when somebody asks you how you're doing, don't just say, I'm good, I'm fine, I'm well, I'm blessed and highly favored and
Yeah.
no, say I am not okay today. I feel like this is what's going on. Be free to open up and be honest, because the people that you need in your life are going to be there in your life to hear you share that story. And the ones that don't need to be in your life, they're going to exit because they can't handle it. But also make sure people have the capacity to take on what you're going to share with them. But also, if you're the one on the receiving end, let them know, like, hey, right now I may not have the capacity for that. So don't sit there and take something on that you're not able to do. We both have to do it both ways. That's why I call it, you check on your people, but you also reverse chop. Reverse chop is letting people know that you need help as well.
Mhm. All right. I love those tips. Thank you so much. So, how can people follow you, support you in the community? How can they follow you and reach you?
You can come on Facebook. You can go on to Jarkeshia McGahee. You'll find me. You'll see many information there. Any upcoming speaking, you can go to my website, which is Chop with Jam, and it's Chop CHOP with Jam. And also my website is chopwithjam.com. So if you go on Instagram, you'll see Chop with Jam. And also, if you wanted to check out previous episodes I've done on my podcast, it's called Encouragement Forward, and it's on all podcasting platforms.
Okay. Thank you so much for being my guest today, Jarkesha. I am going to put all of that information into the comments, your website, and so people can find you and be able to work with you, because you have your upcoming event in October and we want it to be packed out full.
Thank you.
So I want to let everyone know that I am Marshall Harris. I am the owner and CEO of Wellness for Life, which was created to help cancer survivors advocate for their own health and wellness so that they can navigate through the healthcare system with confidence. My company is all about wellness, and it's a digital coaching and consulting company. And I would love for you to find out more information about that. And I will also put my information about my website in the comments, which is marshallharris.com. So thank you so much for being here today, and thank you for your time. Bye, everyone.
Mm.